All right.
All right, now we're recording.
Okay. Well, as the Zoom master, I would be admitting people into the Zoom room for our hybrid meetings, recording the meeting and uploading to YouTube afterwards so that we can distribute it among other guests who were not able to make it today. I think that's it. I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Chanel.
Thank you. Now, typically during this part of the meeting is when we would have our prepared speeches and somebody would get up and give a 5 to 7 minute speech. We don't have anybody scheduled for today. I'm just going to put it out there. Does anybody want to come up and give an impromptu speech? Plan 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, no takers. That's fine. So we will be moving on from this portion of our agenda today then and going straight into our table topic time. I would like to call today's table topic master, Vinny, up to the podium, and she will explain to us what our topics for today will be.
I'm going to throw a big one out at you since we're doing the meaning of life today. It's not really the meaning of life, but man's search for meaning. Here's the question, and take a minute to think about it. In a confusing, surprising, or disappointing situation, explain your process for finding meaning to pull yourself out of that. In a confusing, surprising, or disappointing situation, explain your process for finding meaning to pull yourself out.
Would you like to start us off?
That was a big thought for me right there. I'm going to wait for some takers.
So I'll start it.
Okay, Joey. I knew you'd have something.
So something to pull me out when I'm at a low.
Confusing, surprising, or disappointing.
Okay. So one of the things, and going back to Dr. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, and highly recommended that you all check that book out, whether it's you listen to it or you read it. One of the therapies that he would use was where you do the opposite of what the issue is. It's called, he calls it paradoxical intention. So it's an intention to do something, but paradoxical would be doing the opposite of what you think would be the fix. For instance, if somebody has a hard time in public with sweating, you just sweat a lot. Armpits, hands, everything. What Dr. Viktor Frankl would say was to go into your thought process, and typically people that have that issue, when they get presented with the social environment, they think, don't sweat, don't sweat, don't sweat. And that anxiety of thinking that causes you to sweat more. It's almost like a mental muscle that tightens up really tight and causes you to sweat more. So what he says is think the opposite. Sweat buckets, sweat buckets, sweat buckets. Try and sweat as much as you can. Break Guinness Book of World Records. And what that does, paradoxically, is it causes you not to sweat as much. Another good example that a lot of people suffer from is insomnia. Think about the thoughts that go through your head when you can't sleep. It's usually, I can't sleep, I can't sleep, get to sleep, can't sleep. That creates a mental tightening anxiety that keeps pushing the not sleep. You won't be able to sleep. So if you think about what's the opposite that you're going to tell yourself is stay up all night, stay up all night. See if I keep staying up, keep staying up, keep staying up. And what you'll find is that you'll end up falling asleep. So it's this idea when you have issues like insomnia or sweating too much in social times, use the term Dr. Viktor Frankl calls paradoxical intention to make it better. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bring this up. Should come on.
I'm sweating a lot right now. I don't usually have that problem, but I think also when I speak, you tend to sweat. Not the talk, though. I believe that for me, when I'm trying to find meaning in situations that are confusing or disappointing or less than ideal in any way, I have to go back and remind myself of the purpose of who I am and of who I want to be. So I believe that there are two different ways to look at things. I'm going to try to explain this. One is an action-based thought of what do I want to do, what actions am I going to commit, and one is more of an ontologically based thought. Ontology is, it's our state of being, it's who we are. And when I am in difficult situations, perhaps I'm wondering what decisions should I make? I try to remind myself, or even tell myself if I wasn't entirely sure of the answer, who it is that I am, or who it is that I want to be. What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of person does God say that I should be? What kind of person in his eyes am I called to be? And I believe that reminding myself of who I am intrinsically as a being at the very core of who we are can be very helpful in shaping our actions and the things that we do. I think that's all I have. I don't know if I made it to time, but I will end there. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, some that are two minutes.
So again, in a confusing, surprising, or disappointing situation, explain your process for finding meaning to pull yourself out. Who else would like to go? Sharon.
Thank you. I don't know if it's really about finding meaning to pull myself out, but if I'm ever in a confusing, surprising, or disappointing situation, I just try to remember that change is inevitable and that it is not efficacious to resist change. You all know that recently my son was diagnosed with leukemia, and instead of resisting that, which is impossible, I can't take the diagnosis away. I just recognize that as humans, change happens and change helps to evolve us and grow us. And we just have to cope, keep pushing through. It's obviously been a very confusing, surprising, disappointing situation. And I had to kind of get rid of things that made me who I am. In a way, I'm no longer really a dog sitter. Can't have dogs at the house anymore with Isaac here. And so I felt like that was a big chunk of me that went away. I'm still teaching yoga, thankfully. And I really had to do a deep dive on what it means to be a mom and also a co-parent with my ex-husband. A lot of things have been changing and coming up for me, but again, as humans, we're meant to change and evolve, and that's the only way that we can continue to pull ourselves out of situations is to not try to resist the change. That's all.
Who else would like to go? Now I see Skylar is on with us. Skylar, would you like-
Yes, I would love to go, but this is such a difficult topic though. I think that in a surprising, disappointing, or confusing situation, The first thing that I would like to do is to pull myself back to a neutral state in order to see things objectively. So instead of seeing things through the lens of emotions or feelings, I would try to state the obvious facts. For example, instead of thinking that this is a very disappointing situation that my mom is picking me up late when I was 10 years old, I would think that my mom is picking me up late and maybe she has a reason for it. And then the only thing that I can do is try to control my emotional response and actions to cultivate the best income of the situation. I would try to move as fast as I can in order to gain information that would be helpful and try to find the best course of action. Thank you.
Thank you, Skylar. Kalani, would you like to?
Yeah. Thank you.
I use my watch.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I was looking for a trash can to put out my gum.
I'm a mom.
Let's see if I still got this from grammar school. I got it. Okay. So the question that I paraphrased was, how do you find meaning in a confusing, surprising, disappointing event? I thought that I knew what a confusing, surprising, disappointing event was, and then I became an entrepreneur. And it is everyday life to the max. And one of the biggest things that I've learned and I'm continuing to learn as I myself by other entrepreneurs is that it doesn't stop. Instead, you have to be applications about how you process it. In my opinion, I believe that you should feel all the disappointment, all of the surprisingness of your day-to-day events and all the confusing things that can possibly happen, and take it in a way that doesn't destroy you, but makes you eager to solve those problems. And I think that's what really separates those who continue to be entrepreneurs. And you hear the stories about people who no longer decide to be entrepreneurs. And I think that's really where the mindset shift is. And it's also illustrated in the book Relentless, which is by Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, personal trainer, throughout their careers. And it is just illustrating how important it is to be relentless when you come across those obstacles, regardless of your profession. It's actually something that me and my spouse hold dear to us. And it's actually one of the affirmations that we make sure that our 4-year-old says every night. So that is my answer to that question, is I stay relentless. Thank you.
Very good.
Got to do the time. I have the time, but I got to do that. I got 138 though. I'm
Okay.
taking it. You're right.
And I'll wind it up by answering the question myself, which is, I don't have a sophisticated process for this. So like all of you that do a lot of reading, I get to a point, if something happens, it usually happens and it surprises me. It catches me off guard. If I see something coming, I'm totally prepared. But when something disappointing or surprising happens, it just makes me rock off my feet and sit down for a minute. And I really have to get by myself because I don't trust my first response to it. That's just, I know myself well enough that it's just that I need to close my mouth and sit down and be quiet for a little while. Think about, for me, I have a lot of friends, and I make a note of, when I have friends, I make a note of who's good at what, who deals with situations well, particular situations. Like I would call one friend about a marital situation, but I wouldn't call just anybody about a marital situation. I have another friend that I can call about a money situation. somebody that I worked with for a lot of years, whose judgment I trust, and those are far and few between, I find. But I treasure those friendships, and I treasure people that can give me good, solid advice, and I listen. So that's my next step, is to ask for advice and then listen to it. And then I have to adapt my bad attitude into something much more accepting of a situation, because I don't change automatically. I have to make a decision to accept a change, especially when it's surprising or disappointing. Now I'll turn this back over to our general evaluator
Yes.
to introduce our reports.
Awesome, thank you, Denny. We will start with our timer report. How do we do on our time, Kalani?
Yep.
Come on up. Because I want to shake some of these.
So before I give the report, I do want to apologize to both Joey and Chanel. I had no idea that it was 2 minutes. I thought it was 2 to 3. So
Because I said 2 to 3. I
Oh,
told
geez.
you.
so apologize.
No, you're
Apologize,
good.
guys. Joey, that being said, Joey, you were at 157.
Ooh. Maybe I don't need to know.
Chanel, you're at 156, which is great. Denny, you're at 146. Farron, you're at 125. Skylar, you're at 110. Fantastic way to stay in that bubble on your first one with a very hard topic. And then I was at 132. And that was my report. So I introduced the off camera now, correct?
We'll bring it back to Farron.
Okay, Farron.
Thank you. That's awesome. Everyone got within the time limit. I don't think that has been done in a while. So great job. Next up is our odd counter, Joey.
Now, we haven't done this before. Should we have our Toastmaster here, or who should be the person that stays at the podium? Because we don't want to have an empty podium.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right?
maybe Toastmaster.
Probably me then.
Yeah, so that you.
Okay,
I mean, technically Karen is on the bridge.
she is, but we don't want to leave the podium empty,
Mhm. Yeah, good idea.
right?
Yeah, we're
It's
learning
a
new
new
stuff.
situation.
New stuff. And Farron, you could have just called me out. I mean, I'm the one that usually busts through the table topics like 3.5 minutes. So that's okay. You can call me out. I'm okay with that. You know that.
No, but a lot of people go under as well, so.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So we're doing odd counter first, or word of the day? Word of the day first? All right, that was a tough one. Efficacious. We had 2 people use it. Farron and Kalani used it. And that is also hard because we didn't have a hard copy of it. And we need to maybe figure out how to do that to where we can see it that are here live, and that the people online, well, online, it's easy. You can just type it into the chat, which I did, but maybe have something, that physical copy we can put somewhere where it's easier for us to use. So we're learning. Whiteboard could be a good one. He has one, but it's in the background. So 2 people use the word of the day, and then an not bad for today being such a different type of day. We had Chanel had a couple tisks, 3 or 4 tisks. Denny had 3 false starts, which is more like where you start and then I start again, where I start with I'm going to, she's going to, and I complete my sentence. That's like a false start. And 1 tip from Danny, which is actually really good. Danny is usually her crutch word. Farron, I caught a and then I listen real close to kind ofs because I use them, and you could pretty much eliminate them out of the sentence, and the sentence is just fine without a kind of. So I use them, so I listen really close to those. So just 1 kind of. Kalani, 1 2 us, and then Skylar, I just caught 1 Great work. My reports.
Fantastic job, everybody. As a general evaluation of the meeting, it was our first hybrid one. We got started a little bit late because of technical difficulties, but no worries there. It's our first one and we're learning, like Joey said. The acoustics are pretty good. They're getting better. People are talking louder. I especially heard Joey the most clearly for people who got up onto the podium today from the Zoom side of everything. I don't know, maybe we can adjust the mic, get it a little bit closer to the podium. I'm not sure what would help. But other than that, I think we had a really great first hybrid meeting and we'll probably end early. I will pass it back over to the president, Chanel.
Thank you, Karen. We actually get to give out our stickers in person today. We haven't gotten to do for a long time. So I was not there in person, so can you guys remind me how do we do this?
Usually we'll do, our virtual stickers that we do,
Stick it on your shirt, like
or you just hand it to
Or-
them. Yeah, I'm not gonna stick it on you.
Actually, we used to do it on the badges.
Oh, okay.
But you hand it to the person, because I'm not sticking
Because,
on
yeah,
you, girls,
that's
shirt,
right.
right?
I
So,
do it now.
Go for it,
I
yeah.
do it now.
You
Okay.
can just hand them.
I'm giving everybody a sticker
Thank
for
you.
showing up.
Thank you.
It's hot in here.
Thank
For showing
you.
up and sweating.
We didn't turn on the AC today.
It's as cool
I
as last time.
tried.
It
Oh,
is.
it's the switch is
A
outside.
little bit.
I did turn on this. Anyway, I did turn it on. So we'll have to look at that.
Good.
And virtual stickers to Farron also, and Skylar, our guest, for showing up today and for speaking during table topics at your first meeting. Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Skylar, we also, at the end of our meetings, we like to hear a little bit from our guests, as much as you're willing to say. So firstly, how did you hear about Toastmasters? And secondly, what is your interest in Toastmasters, or what are you hoping to learn from it?
Sure. So my friend took me to a Toastmaster club meeting about 2 years ago. I liked it at the time, but I was just a student, so I didn't really feel the need to gain public speaking skills. But now I'm working and I feel I'm not really able to express my ideas very well during meetings. So I would like to improve like that ability. So I'm kind of visiting several clubs to see which one I fit most with. And in today's meeting, I really like the environment, how encouraging everyone was. The topic was really difficult in my opinion, which is great. It's challenging. I feel like it would be a great like growing environment. So thanks for giving me a chance to visit your club.
Thanks, Skylar.
And are you still doing some grant writing as a part of your job? I think Aubrey did mention something.
Not anymore. I'm working for Caltrans right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, still like environmental and still a lot of writing, but more in transportation now.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. And so did you Google our club, or how did you find us?
Yeah. I think I was trying to find clubs in Fresno, and you guys were one of the first to show up. So yeah, Google search is working.
Go search.
Because we kept our name. That's why.
Thank you. All right. Well, we're super glad to have you. Hope that you come back next week.
And that's what question.
Oh, yes. Do you have any questions for any of us about?
Yeah. How many members usually attend your meeting, and is it weekly?
Yeah, right now we're at like 6 to 8. We have 14 club members right now, but it's kind of been summertime and people have been busy, and we're just transitioning into our hybrid meetings. We've been online since COVID, so this is the first time that we have gone back to our in-person option.
Gotcha.
We're definitely going to get more people to start coming back.
Yeah, same time every day, the same day a week, same time, Tuesday, 12:05 is what we try and do. Every single, unless there's a holiday or something, we'll announce beforehand that maybe we'll cancel, but if there's no major holiday, then we're meeting.
Yep.
One more question is for the prepared speech. Does it have to be on the same topic as the week?
No, not at all. So the speeches actually go through the Pathways curriculum. It's on the Toastmasters website. And
Toastmasters.
yeah, toastmasters.org. So if you choose to become a club member, then you'll get set up with a Toastmasters account, and you go through the curriculum online, which will show you
Step by step.
step by step how to create a speech. And the speech topics are pretty open. You mostly get to choose what topic you want to talk about, but each speech focuses on a different mechanic of speaking. So in one, perhaps you're focusing on hand gestures and speaking. On one, perhaps you're focusing on the structure and organization of your speech and things like that.
Oh, can you decide that, or is it like the theme for the week for what to improve?
The speeches and pathways, each one will have a different improvement that is highlighted.
Could be, so like, what are you working in? Give her an example, what path you're on. You remember?
I don't remember what it's called.
So
May I?
Yeah.
You get to pick your own topics, you can make up your own speech. Each speech will focus on a particular skill, but the actual topic of the speech, you get to pick that out.
and what
Oh,
path you're in.
wow. Okay, that sounds great. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's different pathways, and you can, so if you were to join, we send you the step-by-step how to get in and join, and then you can do a diagnostic, which is like an evaluation, like a little quiz, and you can either do that and it'll decide the pathway for you, or you can choose whatever pathway that interests you. So for instance, I'm in, I think, visionary something pathway, so it's more of going into, okay, what's your communication style, and so you can do a speech on that. You do a little research through it'll take you through a prompt, and you'll go through that prompt, and it'll basically tell you what the speech kind of needs to be about, and then it's up to you. You can be creative with that, but have that as like the core. So it's pretty walk step by step on how to do that, and then there's that freedom and creativity that you can choose to make it your own speech and things like that. But it gives you some direction, but not all the direction.
Cool. Gotcha.
Good questions.
Yeah, excellent questions. And so usually guests can come to 3 meetings for free, and then you have the choice to sign up if you want to continue attending, and it's $50.
Well, for new members, it's going to be somewhere probably, depending on, it could be prorated. So if you started, say, in January, and our next one would be the end of April, it might be around 50 to 60 bucks. I don't think it's more than 70 if you signed up at like the first month of the 6th month, because we pay dues twice a year. So we're getting ready to pay dues again. And if you sign up, say now, you'll be prorated for this last semester, but then you'll pay again for the new semester coming up. So it's just two times a year, and yours probably will be around, if you were to start, probably around 40 bucks, and but then it would be another 50 or 60 bucks for the renewal for the next round.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just twice a year, so pay once, and it's good for
6 months.
6 months, which is pretty.
Don't worry, Joey will remind you.
Yeah.
Tyler, I want to say that you have a very lovely voice for speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, and you have my email, so you can.
Yes.
Get
Yeah.
that also, if you have anything else that comes up.
How about from Farron, any other, because she said about the sound, how we're speaking loud, any other observations? Or is that about it?
No, so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good. The camera is right on the podium, so that's good. And then the other camera, I can see everyone else in the room pretty clearly. So yeah.
Okay.
The sound just sounds a little bit light.
Yeah.
You said I sounded okay?
Yeah, you were projecting really loudly, so it was very, very clear. Some people would start loud and then it would kind of fade a little bit. And so I was like, oh, what are they saying? And I have my volume turned all the way up. So
Closer, we
Yeah,
just got to
and
project now. We have to project because you don't have a computer screen sitting there anymore, right?
I'll take this really, I'm sure that it's me. Story of my life. I will work on it, Karen.
And this is what Chanel's 4th reel in live. Has it been, was it 4? Is
I
this-
went to 3 in person before this pandemic,
you're
so I
fifth
guess
one.
last week would have been 4.
Oh, yeah,
Kind
kinda.
of, so this is kind of 5.
Okay.
So I'm also still getting the hang. All right. If there's not any other comments on that note, then we'll quickly fill out the agenda for next week. We don't have any speakers scheduled. I'm gonna put myself down as speaker because I have been really excited to give a speech in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do it. Who would like to evaluate me?
I can.
Okay. And can we get somebody to volunteer for Toastmaster?
Come on, you
Come
want
on,
to try
you wanna
it? Have
do
you done it?
Right.
I mean, sure, I'm not too sure.
So,
The tragedy that shaped us.
That's the
It's
theme.
a talk for.
and then when Chanel sends out the agenda, there'll be an attachment called Toastmaster Wears Many Hats. And that has all the roles on there. So you can just go under Toastmaster and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And we'll help you. Those that are here will help you. Do you want to try it?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
You can put me down for general eval.
Okay, thank you, Joey. Farron, are you planning on being here?
Yeah, I can do Zoom Master and I'll counter.
Okay.
And maybe put me down for timer.
Okay.
I can do for Marion.
Okay. Just need to give me topics.
Yeah, we gotta get a couple other people
Or I can do tabletop.
to start jumping on.
You can maybe give them online.
We need Sarah from Italy.
I
Yeah,
know.
Sarah.
For her, it's about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock night. There
She's
now.
not in Italy yet.
Oh, not yet.
She's in Canada.
Canada still.
Oh.
So it's not that bad.
All right, we will go with that for now. Are there any closing comments before we adjourn the meeting?
No, I think it went well.
All right, good job, everybody. Thank you to our board members for all of the work put in to make the hybrid meetings happen. And meeting is adjourned.
Good week, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Tyler.